It took some time, but finally we are here to watch the mega pan-India directors roundtable by Galatta Plus Part 1. There are so many amazing directors on this roundtable, and there's no table. It's not round, but still, in a metaphor or in a concept wise, it's a roundtable discussion, and really looking forward to it with Baradwaj Rangan. If you haven't seen the original upload, I'll put the link in description. Check it on the Galatta Plus channel. There's a reaction to it, not a substitute. I'll be pausing in the middle talking, so do mind that. It has been a really fascinating year and a lot of really good projects, so we'll be looking forward to what they are talking about. By the way, the channel membership is live. If you really like the content of the channel and want to support it, consider become a member. You can watch such reactions early, as well as some member-only videos such as song reactions. To know more, click on the join button and let's check it out.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Galatta Plus Mega Pan India Directors Roundtable. I hope I got that right.
What's with that Mitro behind?
Thank you so much for being here and representing the various industries, and I'm especially pleased that we have Srijit Mukherjee here from the Bengali film industry, which we
nice.
don't seem to know much about. We'll start with you because you made a biopic about Mrinal Sen this year called Padatik last year, and it's still doing the festival rounds.
Yeah, it is.
What would Mrinalda say if he saw the Indian film industry today?
And how about this film? I think it was playing at Iffy also, but I missed it. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, the first thing he would possibly say is that can we cut down on the gloss and concentrate more on the stories?
Okay.
The second thing he would say is that can we have more indie filmmakers, because he was the poster boy of indie filmmaking, you know, just taking a camera, getting onto the streets
Parallel cinema.
with no permissions, nothing, and in that chaos he would, cull out a narrative which would last the ages. I think the thing which Mrinalda would celebrate
location
most
partner.
is the indie spirit, which, by the way, is something which I feel is it can still be there in big budget films as well. So I think the spirit, the indie spirit, is not necessarily kind of at conflict with the budget or the stars or how it is mounted. So I think he would celebrate that. He would push for that, and I think he would love a lot of the films which, my esteemed friends and colleagues have made, and he would have had fun actually.
Yeah. This is a centenary, right?
The last year
The
was.
last 2023 was.
Yeah.
So that's when the three films
correct,
based on him
correct,
came out, and
correct.
yours being the last. So yeah. So Rima, Superboys of Malagao had its premiere at TIFF.
Oh, it's coming in Jan,
I want
right?
you
Yeah.
to tell me, what is the advantage of having an Indian film premiered at TIFF? Is it that the audience gets to know more about it? Is it that
Interesting
internationally?
I always wondered, so not all film festivals are that prestigious, right? Like there is a difference between what really matters and what not. So some films have that, they went to so many festivals, but it doesn't mean anything. There are some prestigious ones which are, if you reach there, that's like a big thing. And Cannes is one, Venice is one. TIFF is not popular to be known for that. There's Sundance Film Festival, which is very famous for, where films are purchased. So the indie filmmakers take their films there and people see it and they're like, oh my god, we want to, get the distribution rights, or we want to buy it out, we want to put it on our platform. So a lot of that happens at Sundance. But yeah, these are the big ones, what really matters. And there's so many. Every place in India we have multiple, right? So not everyone has that. I'm talking about in terms of the films which get to these festivals as in a competition, in that sense, as well as for normal audience. Like a film festival is a good place to watch films you would never get to watch in other way, or old films which you would experience on the first time on the big screen. That experience, and that cinephile culture, and all people just talking about films. So if you want to enjoy that, definitely you should go check it out, a film festival, at least once.
It gets more of a visibility. What is the advantage?
Well, with Superboys of Malegaon, Tiger Baby XL, it's been a very long-standing dream to make a crossover film that we can release in theaters outside of the Indian diaspora. So, the TIFF screening, I'm hoping, I don't know for sure, that's the first time I went to TIFF. I'm hoping that, yes, it will give it some kind of push, with audiences that are
I think the Kill movie that came out, even that went to TIFF, if I'm not wrong.
Outside of the Indian diaspora.
Right. Leisure, you've taken your films to festivals as well.
Yeah.
Have they helped in any way? Because, you get a lot of films with those, the laurel wreaths
Yeah.
saying that it's played at this festival, this festival, this festival. And, how does that help, Leisure?
I feel it's more to do with the visibility, I guess. And when you go to a festival in a different place, it definitely opens your film to a larger and wider audience for sure. And maybe the right kind of audience for your cinema also will be your audience in the theater. And definitely when you tell a story from your culture, and you'll be really keen to see what people from different countries and different places, how do they see it,
Exposure.
they perceive it. That's a very important thing, I guess.
Have you noticed anything very interesting about the way you intended a film to be and the way some particular audience perceived it?
See, we screened Angamali Diaries in the Korean festival, Busan festival. So, Korea is a place where pork is a great delicacy. And it was really enjoyed by the entire crowd in the. So that is a kind of. So then you suddenly realize, okay, it's the same very race, it's the same very idea of human being and emotions and everything.
And
It's
food.
the same. It's very safe.
Right.
Yeah, especially in Busan, you get that.
Yeah,
I remember I had my screening of Bajrangi over there, and the whole narrative of a divided country, it just struck such an amazing chord with them.
Right, yeah. Now I'm seeing it.
Interesting.
It was, to answer that, I think it makes a big difference to a smaller film that doesn't have a marketing budget. Because the moment you're at a festival, it gives you a certain visibility and a positioning. Whereas with a big film with a big marketing budget, it doesn't make such a big difference to them if they're at a festival. Because they anyway have made enough noise and have been able to penetrate markets with the sheer budget.
Like a triple R, you would say, like triple R didn't need to go to a Venice, or I don't think if it would qualify considering the type of people, and the expectation for film there is. But yeah, this is too popular, and popular films don't really go to such festivals.
That they have at their
Films which
disposal.
thrive on word of mouth,
Right.
those are the films which actually benefit from the laurels.
From the
Right.
festival.
To take the other point of view, do you think something like Bajrangi benefited simply because it exposed an audience to an Indian film that they might not have otherwise seen? Is that something?
So, with a film like Bajrangi, see, a mainstream Hindi film will never really travel festivals pre-release.
Right.
No producer is going to risk that, the cost of piracy, or just they don't want people talking about a film before it releases. So,
Like, you don't know if it's negative, or if something comes out before release, right, which can cause issue and the film not performing well. Because for a mainstream film, it's all about the commercials, right? For the producer, they want to make the money they invested and more profit. So this doesn't help them at all.
mainstream film always travels post-release, which is what happened with Bajrangi. And yes, and then once it was released and it did the rounds over here, and then when it started traveling to festivals, especially like Busan, then it does open up a lot of new markets, people coming in, watching it, curious about, Bollywood, because they don't get to see mainstream Bollywood in these kind of festivals.
Right.
So when
Gully Boy played at Berlin.
Yes.
So that was before it premiered at Berlin.
Yeah, it premiered.
Right.
the week before.
Yeah, but it was still an advanced screening.
So
and
did Gangubai, I think.
Gangubai, I think.
So they do
Gangubai
it,
premiered in
if it coincides with the week of your release, a
Yeah.
lot of the Bollywood mainstream films will do it. But like for example, my first film, which I did for Yash Raj, Kabul Express, that's the only Yash Raj film that actually premiered at TIFF 9 months before release.
Wow.
I love the film, by the way.
We
That's a lot.
debuted together same year. But so that was a small film, not
As if you guys don't know, he made 83. He made Bajrangi Bhaijaan and some more. I think first Tiger film he also made. No, one of the Tiger films he made. So he has worked with Salman a lot. But what I was going to say is that he started as a documentary filmmaker, and that led to him making Kabul Express, as a fictional kind of film, but in the same kind of narrative. And then I think he got into more of fictional and mainstream cinema.
typical sort of mainstream film, so they could take that risk with that. But otherwise, a big budget, big star film, they'll only show at a festival if it's just a week before release. Like I premiered 83 at Red Sea 4 days before the India release.
Right.
So you can do that within the week, but not if it's a month or two in advance.
Right. So
Yeah, I also think it depends on what kind of target audience you're trying to hit.
yeah.
If you are wanting a slightly more global kind of release outside of an Indian diaspora, I think it makes
Yeah,
sense.
then it makes a big difference.
Right. So from that we jump to films that really clicked with the audiences locally. Not that these films didn't, but Manjumal Boys, Amaran, Lucky Bhaskar, three big hits of the year. Dulquer told me something very interesting about Lucky Bhaskar. He said you came to give him a narrative,
Saw it recently, so reviews are on the main channel.
a narration. You told him 4 highlight scenes and how you are going to shoot them. Are these the scenes that you think will reach the audience the best? How do you?
So whenever we go for a narration, the attention span of any person would be maximum hour, 1.5 hour. So in this 1.5 hour, we have a 2.5 hour or 3 hour story. We have to compress it into say 1 hour or 45 minutes for the first half, and you better have a quicker.
He's smiling. I think he identifies with it.
Also, I think he's being very generous with 1.5 hours. And that's just like most people. Most actors is 20 minutes.
I was thinking.
So they have that attention span of 1 hour. So you pick those scenes. Maybe 2 in the first half, 2 in the second
Which
half.
would entice them.
Yes. So you, while writing itself, these are the scenes that are going to resonate with.
I wonder if he'll answer which were those scenes. Like, can you guess? Like, maybe it's the scene where he gets shamed. I think that was a big moment. And he really like feels that it's done. Then one scene is that in the bank when he's again needs to put more money, and then there's a scam and there, and he needs to put it back, but there's checking going on and all of that. That's a big moment. Then the climax can be the climax interrogation scene, maybe. I don't know. That moment. Not interrogation, like the final kind of a thing between the villains and him. What was the fourth? I don't know. Maybe the one he buys the car and everything and that kind of scene.
Audience. So that's purely luck. If it really does resonate with the audience.
I'm a complete failure when I narrate, so I'll take the tips.
Oh, nice.
I think I've narrated 2 sequences in the first half and 2 sequences in the second half, and the climax being the main thing. And he loved it. By first half, I think he was sure that he's going to do the film, and he was asking me, what is the budget that you have in mind? Is the producer okay? He was doing the math. So by then, he actually was talking about the numbers and how you're going to land the film and all. So the second half,
Considering, I think he's also a producer and he has a company of his own. So I think if I'm not wrong, Pushpa, the Malayalam rights are with his production house, the distribution rights, and that was a deal done. So for the one movie, he didn't take money, and he got like something for one movie with the same producers. He didn't take the money for that film, like a small fee, but not big money. But he said that give me the Pushpa rights for Kerala. Like that's how they do deals sometimes behind the scenes.
by the time I started the narration, he already fixated. Okay, I'm going to do this film, but I just want to hear the second half.
Right. But there is some value to that, because if you choose 4, like let's say highlight scenes, those by narrating it to someone, you're also kind of, if they get the same reaction that you did, it's probably good bet that it's working for somebody else the way it did for you as well, right?
That gives
it's
a
also
lot of
reassurance,
confidence. Yes.
right? So Rajkumar with and you guys had big successes this year with, I would say, relatively oddball themes. Like I don't know how to put it in a way, because for him, you're taking a big Tamil hero like Sivakarthikeyan in a known story and killing him at the end. It's an unusually structured story. People don't die at the end of movies. Heroes don't typically die at the end of movies, and that's proved to be a blockbuster in Tamil cinema. So that's interesting. And you
Interesting, like for a movie like which is a biopic, like I wouldn't that be an issue? Like for me, I think a movie like Bahubali where the hero dies and that was a big thing. Like how would you kill a hero? That was a fictional narrative adventure, big massy action hero film, right? This was a biopic, so I guess like you cannot do anything else. Like you cannot not like undo that. You have to follow what really happened. I'm guessing like I would feel that's a bigger impactful thing when you're making a fictional film, with a big hero, and then you are doing this, and which is I think more bold, and makes like gonna be hit more harder than a biopic. Biopic do not change the ending.
Like this long forgotten
Maybe I think he's talking about the acceptance of the audience.
incident about people trapped in the Guna caves, and that became like this sensation. Are these further proof that there are no rules about what the audience wants to watch? If you just narrate it compellingly and interestingly, the audience will watch anything.
Yeah, that's really true because there is no set formula or structure for any movie. So if you look at this year, 5 films that came out of Malayalam, like 5 are different genres. One is a occult-based thing, one is a rom-com, and one is a survival thriller. So there is no set standards or formulas for success. I think that's what my understanding is.
Right. Whether it's Janeman, your first film, or this, do you specifically keep a youth audience in mind? Because there's a lot of young energy. Does it come from you, or is it also a question of like I want this? This is my main audience. I'm going to.
Interesting.
This is the.
I never think of youth audience when I write.
You can say both are ensemble films also. Like there are multiple facets to it, and the way he brings all the characters and people together, it really like is done well. Both the films.
Think of audience as a collectively, and I write what entices me as an audience, and
That makes
because
all the sense.
Yeah.
I'm a very normal audience. I go to every movie and enjoy it. Sometimes I don't enjoy it, so I always look what doesn't work and what. So I structure it that way.
Yeah, yeah. And how did you approach Amaran? Like you are inspired by this real life war hero, and you're trying to mount a big budget film on that. So did you also have the same narration problem, or?
Firstly, hello everybody. I've watched almost all your films except one or two, and from Lijo, Rima, Kabir sir, and all of these people. First of all, I'm very glad to be in this forum. I've met all of you through some common platform. Thank you, sir, for that. And about the smirk, about the smile that I had when he was saying there are people who read scripts also, sir. There are actors who read scripts also. And
Look at Kabir Khan. He's like, what? That is a thing? Never in Hindi.
there are people who gives only 5 minutes sometimes. But I've always gone with a full script. I always insist on narrating fully. So far, I've made 2 films. Both these films I've narrated to several people. I've always narrated the full story. Because if we narrate only particular 4 highlights or moments, then it seems like a trailer to me. It's not the full film. I would say we should always, people who are investing, all the stakeholders like actors, actresses, or even supporting characters, I think they should know. Sometimes I'll insist, I would like to narrate fully, please. And otherwise, I don't have the mood to even go out and pitch my script.
Right.
Because they'll have to connect to every scene of the film. They should know where they stand.
And then, like, I can see both things working, right? Like if you've written a script and you don't have time and you can just want to hook in the person, that they get what they want in the highlight moments and they're on it. And then you can, of course, do DQ heard the whole script later. In that case, it works. But here also, I think he's so much invested in the film that maybe he feels that maybe talking in parts is just a trailer or, incomplete. I want the whole thing to be understood by the other person before we commit to something. Yeah, so the different thought processes, different ways of thinking, kind of, what do you call it, different perspectives. It's not one thing is right, one on the other, is it? No.
And even to Shiva Karthikeyan, when I narrated Amaran, just like how he said at the end of the first half, when I said intermission, he was already for it. He said, I'll do this. But still I said, no, you listen to the second half. And even before getting that time for narration, I told him it's a biopic. It is about a martyred soldier, and the hero dies in the end. He said, it's okay, you come and narrate. And he was shooting for a song at that point of time, so he was drained So usually song shoots, those are heavy songs, and he was drained when he came to listen to the story. So it was beyond 9 p.m. in the evening. So after first half, he said, "I'm okay." I said, "No, you still listen to the second half." At the end of the second half, he was completely okay. I didn't even tell him who's the producer of the film. Later, after he said he was about to say okay, then I told him Kamal Hassan sir is the producer of the film. And he said, "I need 2 days just to process." And then next day morning, he said he wants to act in the film. Then it happened, sir. So that's why I was smiling. I mean, sometimes it's not like that. But there are actors who also insist. I think I worked in this film, Tupaki. Vijay sir, I don't know about him now, but back then, at least 5 years back, till then he was always, he will insist, I will go into a set only if I know the full script.
Right. Nice.
He always says whether it's bad or good, that doesn't matter, but I need to know the entire film's screenplay. Only then I'll walk into a set.
Right.
So there are actors like that too.
Interesting.
So I think it's a mix of everything. And there are some, Sai Pallavi, she always prefers to read. In our case, I think she read it first and then she wanted to listen to the narration.
Right.
So I think there is.
Very interesting. Like, I think because when a narration, you just add more emotions, feelings, and setting, and you focus on those things more and in a compelling way than just reading the script. Or this happens, this kind of says this kind of says this, and in that sense. So maybe you can first you read it, you get the idea, and now you want to know how the director is gonna approach it. Maybe that's the thing.
So Vignesh, you have a very unique sensibility, a very dark / sly, wry comedy kind of sensibility.
Which film did he come out this year with? Maybe they did.
And you were supposed to actually have a film release this year, which was with Ajit. And
okay.
that didn't happen. It created a lot of buzz because, of course, in Tamil Nadu, anything with any of the big stars creates a lot of buzz, whether it's this way or that way. How did you process that, and did that affect the way others think of you as a director capable of delivering a big project?
First of all, hi. So I'm the only person here who didn't release a movie this year, and I'm sitting here.
But you were supposed to. Yeah.
But that's not valid, but it's okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the thing is, as you said, I'm trying to have a genre for.
Is it the Good, Bad, Ugly, or is the other one? Which teaser we just recently came out? Because then there's a thing, right? Both Ajit films are releasing on the same day. It's like Ajit versus Ajit. Like, that would be like very weird. Like, why would you do that? I don't know. Maybe both the producers like Pongal date, they want the date, and I don't think there's a competition also. So they are only competing against each other.
My own self, which makes sense to me. And I've tried it in my other movies, and it has worked for me. So when I want to, for example, Ajit sir loves Nanum Rowdidan. So the first meeting that I had with him was, he said, I don't watch a lot of movies, but then this movie, I've watched it many times, and I really love the way you've done it. And I'm more interested in the Parthiban's character in it, that kind of a dark character. So something on those lines, you can make a script and we'll do a movie. This is somewhere when I write lyrics, like I wrote a song for Gautam Menon in Nena during that time.
Okay.
So
Okay, I just looked up his films, and I don't think I've seen any of his films yet. Pava Kadaigal, I think, was one of the films he made that I saw, but I have not seen any of his kind of films, full feature films. So that's sad.
we had this conversation, and later he kept his word and he called me and he said, let's do a film, you do it in your style. So this is one part. But the producer, they have a completely different idea. They have a set rules of what works, what doesn't work with the superhero kind of an image. When we have heroes like this on board. So it's always a very big mismatch between the intention of a director like me and them, because they have set theories which I don't understand, but the moment I take my pen and write, I first break all those things and only I'll write.
Right.
For example, see, when I saw Avesham, my script was somewhere in that zone. like for me to imagine something like that with Ajit sir, it would have been a very
Interesting.
different movie with all the mass elements. But when I narrated, so the producer had this comment to say, he's saying, like என்ன ரொம்ப காமெடியா இருக்கு. He's saying, why is it so humorous? Why there is no, like, I want more emotion and some message for the audience. I said, message, something like
The mismatch between producers and directors are universal. Mismatch between producers and directors.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a
That is where
universal.
Mrinalda would have come in. When
Yeah, I think the only
made it a
solution
point
is to
that,
also
I
produce
will not
yourself.
have big budgets.
That's the only
Because the
solution.
moment you have big budgets, the interference also goes up.
Yeah, that's there in the movie.
Yeah, he was very, very clear that I would like to make films at a low budget because then no one comes and tells me do this, don't do this, put more, emotion.
That's why the previous film, Kaatvaakla Rendu Kadal, I produced it myself because I didn't want to narrate it to anyone. I just said, okay, end of the day, they are just working on the combination. So I said, Vijay Sethupathi, Nayanthara, Samantha, Anirudh music, this
that
much number,
triple
producer gave me
love
the number. He
triangle.
doesn't even know the story. He came for the first copy. Because every time I started narrating a man in love with two girls, they'll stop. No, let's do something which is like not even these guys are lucky. Like 1 hour, 20 minutes. I'm a 2-minute. I'm married, love with two girls. Stop. That's right. Two girls. He's like he falls in love with a girl during the day and then has a relationship during the night. It keeps going on. No, something for family audience. So, but what happens is that becomes a challenge for me, where I feel like I will make this film and I will make family sit and watch it without having without.
That's the
they should
challenge,
not
right?
be embarrassed.
Like that's something when you're telling a story you want to take up. When like that's the thing, right? That's the fun of it, right? If you want to tell these weird stories in a way that's like palatable to all the audiences, right? But if you just say family audience means family as in don't talk about anything else, just very sushil and good things only, like that's too safe. And I think filmmaking should not be safe. I think the moment you make it too safe, it's become boring.
While watching this film, and end of the day, it made money. Everything was fine with the film. Like I wanted to make that film, and I made it like how I want. That's it. But when it comes to heroes, I'm a person who, if I get the opportunity to make it like exactly how I want to make it, then I'm okay. Otherwise, I can't risk my entire thing and make something which is neither here nor there, and then the fall is very big. But now I'm okay. I'm doing a film again. This film was also a dropped film.
Which one?
Love Insurance
Yeah.
Operation, because it was a high budget
I like
movie,
it.
something happening in the future and things like that, and same producers. In 2018, it was about to go for shoot with Sivakarthikeyan at that point of time, and we have a very interesting connection also, which I'll come back later. But it didn't happen because the film is set in future, and the producer is telling me, see, the budget is high because the film is set in future. Why can't you make it in the present? Like if someone comes.
Oh man, that is definitely very logical question to say when you just look at it through the budget lens, but creatively, like the story is that's what it demands. How can you make Kalki in present? Like, it makes no sense.
And tells you Bahubali, it's in period time. Why can't we make it as a drama which happens like how after that meeting I didn't even want to go there. So this is the problem. So I'm trying to produce my own films, but I don't have more than 10 to 15 crores.
Right.
Oh, that means actually then we can make 5 Bengali films.
But I made Pebbles.
Yeah.
Pebbles which
Yeah, of course.
got the
Of course.
Tiger Road. So when you're talking about the festival, so that my taste, where I satisfied that part of my taste by producing such films, by backing indie movies, and that's another reason which I really enjoy.
Right.
Also.
And since you're talking about festivals, when we met at Cannes, you said you had this idea for a mega historical project. Again, you haven't been able to.
No, that is the futuristic script which I had written. That's the film I'm doing now.
Do it now.
See, end of the day, I'm not changing my scripts. Whatever I've
Historical
written, whatever
or futuristic? I'm so confused.
I want to make, it's somehow getting made. That is what I'm seeing every day. So these are not like wasted efforts.
Yeah.
A script any day it's going to get made if we have the conviction and we have sincerely
Nice
worked on
thought.
it. So the script which I've done for Sir also, like I don't think I change even because the balance is so correct. When I get a producer who understands that, automatically that film will get made. So that's what I'm also waiting for maybe in the future.
Yeah. So, Lijo, you had an interesting film this year with Mohanlal, one of the biggest stars in Malayalam, Malakote Valiban. And for a while, the reception was very disturbing for you. And now you look quite happy, so I think you're over it.
Just for 3 weeks.
Just for 3 weeks, right? But you said something very interesting when after the people started.
Man, it's been quite a while, and this year was long. Like, it felt like it was like years ago I saw Malaikote Valiban. Like, it feels so weird.
About that's not what the movie is and what has Lijo done and all that. You said it is not a director's job to live up to certain expectations. I like that. But when somebody becomes a brand, like Lijo Jose Pellicheri is a brand, before, I think there's a pre-Angamali Diaries period when you could pretty much do whatever you wanted.
I have not claimed it.
No, but then I'm saying, I think Rima would agree, because the minute Angamali Diaries came out, everybody suddenly was sitting up and, wow, this is something interesting. Once you become a brand, can you really prevent expectations from mounting on a director and opening?
I think the expectation was more of Mohanlal fans, right? If I'm not wrong, that they expected a big, massy, action film, and they got something else altogether. And it was not a like LJP. How could he make such a film? Like, if he had made a typical mass film, that would have been like, wait, what is LJP doing?
This out to all of you.
Yeah. See, the idea itself is what I normally regularly feel is that we should not be like catering to the expectations of the audience. It's the other way around, according to me. It should be like we should be the ones who should make films in such a fashion that it changes the idea of what they want to watch. So it's a very it's
Like, don't make what they want. Make. Wait, what? No. Make what they don't know they want. Yeah.
always it's in question, this kind of an idea, like whether we should make according to the expectations of the audience, or whether we should create such a film in such a fashion that when they change their taste slowly into a better film watching space. So I feel in both ways it works. This is my way of doing it. So I
think
don't think there's anything
that's
wrong.
more like a byproduct, because I feel that, like he was also saying, that our primary audience is ourselves.
Yeah. That's very
That's so when we sit for the final mix in the theater, in the darkness, there's just one audience member, that is ourselves, and we do not have any secret formula to the alchemy that what will work and what will not work. So we can know that, okay, I want to make something which I would want to watch. Paying out of my own pocket. And once you make that you will change over time as well. So that you is not a homogeneous, static. So, I mean, when we are shifting film to film, our aesthetics are also changing. We are evolving as human beings. So what we make, that necessarily will not pander, or should not, according to me, pander to the box in which we have been boxed. Okay, Kabir Khan makes these films. Okay, Rima makes these films, Anurag makes these films. So the next film, it has to be like this. So that is a constant struggle, and that is a struggle which I
think that he said Anurag. I don't know if there's an Anurag on the panel, but Anurag Kashyap has definitely been like, Gangs of Wasseypur, Ugly. Those films he made, and now everyone wants him to make those dark gangster films, and like Ramana Raghav 2.0. And now he doesn't want to be in that box, and he just experiments, and they have not been that kind of great films. But yeah, I think that's a struggle.
Also, like, and success makes it even more difficult.
So
You know? Then you are branded.
sorry to cut you.
Yeah.
So it's basically even the director or direction is not just to the film, also to the audience also. It's guiding them to the kind of ideas you should keep watching or you should move into. That is also, part of the direction, I feel.
Right.
So that way, I feel that it's the right way to do
Like
it.
I think
Otherwise-
sorry.
Sorry, no, I was just saying, otherwise, the industry being what it is, if you make one successful film, you'll end up making sequels for the rest of your
Yes.
life.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You know? And
Absolutely.
then you're stuck.
That's what's
Because
happening
you're
now.
catering to the same market. So that's.
Yeah, I completely agree. When I'm writing, I write only for myself.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I like it, then another person has a chance of liking it.
Right.
It's very difficult to, I think, do imagine and get into somebody else's head.
Impossible,
yeah.
Like years ago, there was somebody who, in the Hindi film industry, Arindam Chaudhary.
Chaudhary, yeah.
Yeah.
So he actually went to colleges and he kind of researched what the audience wants to see. And he made a film, and that film flopped really badly.
Yeah.
So, you can't.
I think all of us make
That's a good story to tell everyone who thinks they can figure out what audience want and then make it according to them. It's never gonna work.
films that we want to watch.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm telling Kabir is, so Rima is known as Talash, the heart. That. So when suddenly she and Zoya make an Archie's, people see it as like you have betrayed our trust, kind of, like kind of a thing. Because it's not like they are coming and saying, let us see what Rima and Zoya are doing with the Archies. They're like, but why are they doing this thing and then this?
See, that's a given.
Yeah.
More than Archie, I think that with Zoya and me, it's Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara.
Yeah.
Whatever you put up. If I put my dog's photo up also on IG, when is Zindagi Na Milegi 2 is what comes from people.
Right.
But
That's the part of success.
That you can't fight
you
beyond
can't
a point.
fight.
You can't fight that.
I can't.
Even the maestros, for example, if you talk about Satyajit Ray, inevitably someone will bring up Pothir Pachali, and then the rest of the filmography is not really looked into or explored. Like when I used to assist Aparna Sen, so I used to rave about 36 Chaurangile, and she sat me down and said, have I not made any other film apart from 36 Chaurangile? I said, no, but 36, special. And so some films become a curse. The most
I will not say curse, but I think it's like people say peaked, right? Like that director made that film, and that since then it's not anything he has made. It's not that reached that, but I think that connection we have with that film is something else altogether, right? So, like I said in MD, I think so many people love that film. I can watch it as many times I can watch, and I think for me that's a parameter. I look up to, for me, if I can watch a film multiple times, that means it's really, really good. And it's so rewatchable value is strong because, nowadays there's so much content that if a film is not rewatchable, I feel like something was missing. In the time of there's so much happening, I think if a film comes out and then you feel like watching it again and again, that says something about it. And I'll not call it a curse basically. It's just a thing, and you just have to keep challenging yourself, I think.
successful films, they become a curse for the filmmaker.
That's a very nice way to put it, yeah.
They battle themselves every time they go out to make another film. Kabir battles Bajrangi. Kabir makes Chandu, Kabir makes a Kabul Express. People are saying, but वो सब ठीक है, लेकिन Bajrangi.
I'm still battling Tiger.
Oh, you're still battling Tiger.
Why I'm not making spy films? I said I don't want to make this. So they don't understand it. Like if you go to the social media,
He made Tiger.
I might post a photograph of a camel. They'll say, "Arey, why are you not making Tiger?"
Yeah, that's like the dog story, yeah.
So I made this very, very bizarre, surreal, esoteric film called Nirbak after a string of successful, wholesome thrillers, which everyone was happy and families watching, young audience watching. The Nirbak dealt with 4 love stories. It dealt with necrophilia. It dealt with bestiality, and people almost took out voodoo dolls, saying that how could you do this to us? You can't do this. You are a poster boy of wholesome Bengali entertainers. So there's this ownership which is nice in a way, but also this tendency to box. that you shall make this and this alone, because what you've made has worked.
Right.
Now that working, to challenge that and see whether other things can also work, like you were saying, that is a very problematic area.
When you deliver a mega movie like Monumental Boys, right? It's like, if I'm not mistaken, it's the highest grossing Malayalam film of all time now.
Yeah.
That's a big
Wow.
cross, right? It's like it's like your second film becomes the highest grossing Malayalam film of all time. Does that put a pressure on you for your third film?
It does. But sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I don't think about it. Sometimes it rains upon me like.
But I think that's the thing in Malayalam cinema, right? I don't think people are expecting him to deliver one more. Considering the fact also that Manjumal Boy is, it's not ARM in a sense. It's not touted to be, it's a big grand scale film we are making, and then it goes to make that money. It's not a Pushpa, it's not a KGF, it's not a RRR, it's not anything like that. It's a small film actually. Budget wise also I didn't think they spent too much money. But like it will consider a mid-sized film with a normal cast, they made it, and then that film just did extraordinary. But also this from Malayalam cinema. So Malayalam cinema I don't think they have this thing of, oh, he made a 200 crore film, now he has to make more than that. I don't think that's pressure is there in Malayalam, according to what I understand. And even the film wasn't like established on a scale that it has to deliver that. I think if that is not there, I think the pressure will not be there as much.
I don't know. So that, what I'm going to make next is, I think it's the biggest challenge for me, because it is. I don't know. It is upon me. I have burdened myself with this, and I don't know. Like to arrive at what to do next is pretty tricky for me right now, to be honest.
Have you
Interesting.
decided what you're doing next?
I have decided, but next day morning I said like, hey, it won't work. So it changes every time.
Right. They actually say that, when your first film's a hit like Janima, then the second film becomes a difficult one because they want to know if you can live up to the first film, or was it just a fluke. But now with this having happened, your third film is actually not that I'm putting pressure on you, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's just become this thing. And especially because today we have day by day reporting of box office numbers, and the first thing that most websites track is, will this beat Monumental Boys day one, something like that's going to be like how the average percent is going to be, and that's like a horrible thing to have to battle.
exactly, yes.
Because talk about the quality of the film, that's different, but if you're going to talk about the box office, then
Like if the film comes out and it, like Manjumal Boys made 50 crores in 1 week, and then they say, oh, this new film has only made 20 crores, it's a failure. Wait, no. Like, what if it makes more money over the 2-3 weeks and a month, and then it like, even if it doesn't, that doesn't make it. Like flop and hit is considered from the budget and how much you made, the profit. If you break even, if you earn more, that's it. Hit and flop in terms of money wise. And of course, if it's a big hit, more people are coming to watch it, will have more box office. That's also a hit. But yeah, this is kind of stupid. But it's like a perception that has become.
I remember this ad where a guy is standing in front of a rocket and he's asking, "Is mileage kitni hai?" So this basically come down to that.
That's why
I remember that. That's a fantastic ad.
कितना देती है?
Kitna deti hai? It kind of sums up the.
I safely landed with 2 flops. It was easier then.
it was easier then,
Takes
right?
the pressure off.
Right. So when a Chandu happens and the industry says it should do this much, it ends up doing less than what it should.
I have to say, man, Chandu Champion, I saw it twice now. Showed it to family, and actually it's a really well made film. It has the emotions, it makes you emotional, it makes you root for the character, you are inspired by the story, it's based on a real person. Everything is there. Yes, the performance, Kartik Aaryan's best, but if there was a better actor who would have done better job, yes. But and also it has that element ki biopics, sports biopic, you kind of know the treatment and the template, but still it's something, it's good, it's something should be watched. It's a good story to be watched. But yeah, it just didn't work, and I feel their timing could have been better. They should have put this film during Olympics or after Olympics, man. It should have worked much better.
overall, yes, it's a safe proposition. What is the end takeaway then? Is it like, have you fallen in the industry's perception? Are you like, are they thinking, can we entrust this person with a big movie? How does it work that way? Like.
So I've actually never let myself go down that road.
Right.
When I've had the blockbusters, I've never let myself go down that road. When I've had films that have underperformed according to what people's expectations, I've never let myself, because for me, it's really, I know the moment I hear a story, I can feel it in my bone that now I need to do everything to make this story. I go down that route. I have stayed away from sequels for a reason. They've never excited me. There's a lot of pressure to say make Bajrangi 2. I feel I still haven't got the story which will excite me to go there. So if I've taken this path of not playing safe and just trying to replicate some of my successful films, but get more excited by telling new stories, then I don't want to go down that route. Of course, I don't want anybody who's financing my film to lose their money. It should definitely bring back the money with a little sort of a profit. But I don't really sit down and think, okay, is this going to be a difficult phase of my career? And for me, actually, success is not really about how much money you make. I think success, for all directors, is, can you make the story you want to make, and are people ready to back you?
Absolutely.
Is an actor ready to come with you and a producer ready to come to make the story? If yes, I'm still successful.
Right.
The day somebody says, no, you're not making this is what you're going to make, that's the day my success is over. Then I'm just, I don't know, servicing our industry.
Absolutely.
And also, I think making the film that you set out to make.
Yeah.
That's important.
That's important.
Very important.
Yeah. Now, I'm talking to, let's say, Rajkumar. You say you want to set up a production house, like you have a production house, but like Rowdy Pictures, and Venki, you. Now, Rima has a production house, so that makes it a little bit easier, I would assume, to kind of tell the stories that you want to tell.
Yeah, I mean, he was talking about a disconnect. I think that disconnect is not there.
Disconnect between
Producer and director.
director, right.
Yeah.
That's not there
That
because you're
disconnect,
the.
But having said that, I mean, even before Tiger Baby, I have to give Farhan and Ritesh credit for.
yeah.
I mean, I did.
So Excel is by Farhan and Ritesh Sidhwani, and Farhan is the brother of Zoya Akhtar, and Zoya Akhtar has made most films under Excel, and now Zoya Akhtar and Rima have made their own production house, Tiger Baby. So yeah, but yeah, they had always had the backing of Excel.
3 very different films for them. Honeymoon to Talash to Gold, and they kind of went along with me, and
Right.
So I can't. There wasn't that much disconnect with them either.
Yeah.
But I think it definitely makes it easier. And you're not waiting for somebody else to believe in your vision.
Right.
You can. It's on you.
Yeah.
Because it's not always the case that the producer will be, sometimes a producer can be a great support system.
Yes,
In my case, my first 3 films, Aditya Chopra, again allowed me to make 3 very diverse films, from a Kabul Express to a New York to a Ekta Tiger, a very different films. But to get that kind of a support from him, I think it's sometimes you're lucky and you do manage to team up with a great producer who allows you to fly even higher.
So, do you have plans? Do you have plans of setting up a production house?
I don't want to get
You
into
never want.
production. I don't.
Why is that?
Because
Interesting.
Till now, touchwood, I was really fortunate to get good producers who supported my vision, never questioned the budgets. Starting from my first, I have done like 5 films. For the first 2 films.
I get it, because it's not everyone's cup of tea. Producing is a different job, and if you're too much into directing what you have written and making your own stories, and you get just lost in that one thing, that's okay. You can just do direction. But I think producing is more about hearing a lot, letting others do, and don't put too much of yourself into it. You cannot get too much in you want to be part of that project as a producer, back them, but not too much, take away their freedom. Don't be the producers you don't want to work with, that who's telling too much things to do this, do that. Like, you have to maintain a balance of how much you want to help them, how much you want to mentor them, and then let them go, let them be what they want to be, just support them, whatever they need. And I think not everyone can do that, not everyone can divide their time like that. Maybe in the future, who knows? But yeah, not like I think a lot of people who becomes into production, like they get more, they enjoy that thing more, or they feel like they want to create a space for others what they didn't have, for the next crop of directors who are coming up. So even that's something a driving force, that they want to create a platform for those people.
For one banner, and the next three films I've done to Sitara Entertainment's Nagavamsi. So especially with Nagavamsi, he never, questioned the budget, the numbers, and especially when I was narrating this story, the Lucky Basket, to so many people, to many actors, they were saying it's a very A-class film, so it won't do this much. So they were usually they were getting into the
Interesting.
numbers. So I don't know, for some reason last 15 years it's all about numbers. People numbers, it's all about numbers. When Sir told, he never gets into it. And interestingly, I've read a sports article. People started feeling Virat a failure when he started scoring 60s and 70s. So because of his hundreds, people are expecting him to score 100 every match. So
Yep.
it's not necessary that our next film should cross the previous film's numbers. We can't outnumber ourselves. Even maybe, sorry to say, but even Rajamouli sir can't replicate every time.
Yeah.
So for some reason,
Would like
But he does, but yeah, the expectation should not be that.
to say I feel this
But I think okay, because he took a name, even for him, it that he needs to, he wants to outperform, because his goal is not just about the number, but he always says that I want to reach more audiences with my film. And I think the bigger the story I can tell, the bigger, reach I can get. That's my desire. So that desire is very different than just making, I want to make a good film or to tell my own story. I think he's playing at a different level, just because the example he took. But yeah, the point is that the expectation should not be that if his next film, but that's the point, right? His next film is more expensive than his previous film, so it needs to make more money. And that's a different league, Rajamouli is playing with. But yeah, the point is that the director, if he made a 200-300 crore film, that doesn't mean next film also should be 500. If not, it's a failure.
numbers game again. It's, you can't judge the success of a film by, say, it's 100, it made 100 crores.
No, you can't.
But what if you spend 150 crores? You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think the success of a film is always relative to the budget.
yes.
And I was a trained economist before I joined filmmaking, and there are other factors like inflation. I mean, a film, if you're comparing across decades, there are inflation, there are ticket prices, there are thousands of factors. You look at footfall into ticket price gives you the revenue. So it's very difficult to compare, in terms of numbers, that this one was less successful, this one is more successful. So I think aesthetics is something which should be one of the leading parameters of any successful film.
And eventually, for me, if I like a film, it doesn't matter whether the number, just because I hear it made 300 crores, but I hated the film, I'm not going to start loving it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it made 300. Or if, for whatever it's worth, there was a film called Son Chiriya, which I loved. It didn't do so well, but I still think it was a great film.
Right.
So
Abhishek Chaube's.
yeah.
I think essentially it comes back to what Kabir is saying, that whatever your film makes, if the next film you can get a producer and do it the way you want to do it, that's good.
It's fine.
That's good
Yeah.
enough revenue for the previous film.
Right. That's really what the
That's the
what
parameter.
model is.
So that was part one, and a really good, I would say, roundtable. And I think I liked how, I think that's maybe BR has become more, what do you say, experienced about it. And also, I think the room, like they all just gel together well. Like, everyone talking, and it's not very quiet, awkward moments. It's like everyone's just talking about their things and process. And, then there's no point of, asking a question and asking each person one by one. That kind of breaks the, flow a bit. And you have to keep asking them to talk. And I think like individually everyone is just adding whatever they want to add to the point. And it's nice, to know about directors and the things they face with the producers. Do you want to produce them? What is success to them? The pressure that comes, making a successful film, and the way, everyone breaks down and different perspectives they're gonna put out. And I think the end that, if you're getting to make your next film the way you want, and you're getting a producer, you're getting backing, that is success for you. It doesn't matter how much crores your, previous film made. And I think that it's also about, yes, you have to challenge yourself. You have to risk it. Do something. There should be an attempt to do something. If it's just too simple, just recreate what you did before successfully, and even that would give you success for a time, but not for long term. It's not a long term thing to do. It will, maybe if it happens once or twice, but not every time. You at one time you will become stagnant. You'll not grow, and that's very very important. In a craft like this, filmmaking, in art, you have to keep growing, you have to keep changing, you have to keep experiencing different things and showcase that in your work, and that's very very much important. But let's check out part 2. If you haven't seen it, it's on the screen right now. Click on it. If it's not out yet, it will out be soon. It'll be only for the members too early, but do check it out, check out the videos, and I will see you next time.